and welcome into Getting Help from Uncle Sam. You know, a lot of times we want to get some help, but it's sometimes a little bit hard to get. You know, in 1962, I raised my hand, I joined the Air Force. When I talked to the recruiter, he said, you know, young man, if you'll join the Air Force and get an honorable discharge, and that was after 4 years, what you can do is you're going to be eligible for a lot of veterans benefits. You're going to become a veteran. Well, you know, as time goes on, you sometimes use some and don't use some. And recently, and my wife's a veteran also, we started looking into different types of things, and there's a lot of hurdles. And, you know, I kept thinking, God, there's got to be an easier way to do it. Well, very luckily, I've got a good buddy, Steve Payne, and I ran into you, and I want to tell you, that was probably one, and, you know, we've known each other forever, but running into you because you've felt the pain that a lot of veterans feel trying to get results, don't you?
Yes. Been navigating it for, well, if you want to say, since I was an infant, because my grandfather was at the VA in the 50s. And
wow.
And he passed away in 1953. He was French War, World War I.
Okay.
Crushed between a horse and a dog or whatever, and stayed in traction for a year at the VA in Montgomery on Perry Hill Road.
Wow.
These machines that rotate, I call them rotisserie beds.
Right, yeah.
And he finally passed away in 53. And my father would drag me along when he was checking on him and doing whatever. And then Dad went to work for the VA. When he got back from service and got his law degree and stayed with the VA for several years, but then went to Social Security and retired from Social Security. But he's always promoted veterans' rights and veterans' issues because he was a disabled veteran. And he instilled in me, and I never would fool with it. You know, I got back in '69, which you know that because we lived next door to each other.
Absolutely.
I got back from Vietnam in '69, and I never wanted to go mess with them. Most vets don't.
That's right.
Because they have such a bad taste in their mouth. And anyhow, when Dad got sick in 2006, he passed away, and he said, "You get in this system,
so that you're in there,
or I'm gonna come back and haunt you."
Right.
You know?
Okay.
And I did. And a few months later, I heard back from the VA, "We don't have any records of you being in Vietnam." I said, "Well, let me show you a couple of holes." And from that, it went downhill because now they're saying I don't qualify. If you, and that's the problem with a lot of the veterans that did not serve in combat.
Okay.
There's two different systems, but it's made that way for a reason. Like Purple Heart. If you're a Purple Heart recipient, a lot of people in Vietnam deserved Purple Hearts, but they would reject them. They didn't want to keep your Purple Heart.
Right.
So what happens is a lot of times they go to the VA and they want some help, and they tell them you don't qualify. Well, you just said it. I served for 4 years.
Right.
You told me I got this. Now where is it?
Right.
We signed a blank check. Now pay up.
That's right.
And that's not happening.
We did our part of the bargain. You do your part. So then you put together your organization, which is the
Vietnam Vets of America, which is the only congressionally sanctioned single, or in other words, you have to be a Vietnam vet to be a member of the Vietnam Vets of America. You can be an associate from any branch.
Okay, I'm a Vietnam vet, but I did not serve combat.
You're a Vietnam era vet.
But okay, so there's
So
a difference.
you are allowed to be a member of the Vietnam Vets of America.
Okay.
You served during, had you not done what you did, I explain this to a lot of people.
You couldn't have done what you're doing.
When we speak to these schools, kids, and they go, "What did you do in the Army, Dad?" You know, whatever.
Right.
These kids say, "Well, my dad was in Vietnam during the Vietnam era." My dad was not in Vietnam, but he worked he was at Danley Field or Maxwell Field or Gunner Field. Well, he's a Vietnam era vet.
Right.
Had he not been making beans and bullets,
Right. You couldn't do what you did.
we could not have done what we did.
Right.
You know.
That's right.
Now, yes, the public didn't recognize that because of the civil rights movement and in the 60s.
Right.
And it was either civil rights or Vietnam, and the choice was made.
Right.
Vietnam took some pretty bad hits. Vietnam veterans took an even
Right.
heavier hit when we came back from Los Angeles,
That's right.
from Vietnam to Los Angeles, and were
So
spit
right,
out.
so right now, if a veteran's watching this show and they're saying, I've been trying to do something to find out about benefits and they're not getting anywhere, they can contact your organization.
They can contact the Vietnam veteran, the Veterans Voice Advisory Committee.
And if somebody just wants to get the process started, they should probably also come to you
I would
because you
like
can
for
grease the skids going in.
We have 390,000 veterans in the state of Alabama.
Okay.
I would like for 390,000 surveys to be sent in.
Good. We'll get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, and just remember this, if you're having any kind of a problem, go to the website, get the information. They're there to help serve you because in a lot of times it's hard to navigate government. And we'll be right back right after this.